All right, so quick little chat. We're just getting back from a run, and I thought I'd give my 2 cents here. I talk about intimacy and relationships nowadays, and so that's the hot topic, not only in my world, but in a lot of people's world. If you've been following the content, we've been talking about the different psychological attachment tropes and types, right? From avoidant attachment to anxious attachment to secure and all these things. By no means am I highly experienced in the field to where I can talk about all of the different types and aspects of these attachment tropes, but I am experienced enough in life, the school of hard knocks, experience in life, having had many relationships, a lot of failures that are not actually failures if you use it to your advantage and learn from those things and develop yourself from introspection and integrate those things into your values, your principles, your character, and your integrity, right? As a person who seeks to be high valued to society, for example, you want to up your game, then essentially you're going to want to grow and you're going to want to learn and know how to navigate in today's world. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about today's world and its casuality. Now, whether or not that's actually a word in the dictionary, I don't care. I just made it up. It exists. This is what I call the Aldous Huxley, A Brave New World that we're living in. And so you have all of these dating gurus out there, these life coaches that talk a lot about the different methods and techniques that you use to approach men, approach women, so on and so forth in this world that we're living in. All right. And how to successfully do it. And by success, meaning you have infinite amounts of options, availability, access to access. And a lot of times they will talk about the transformation of your unconscious. So you develop more courage or more confidence, let's say, but there are deeper rooted issues in your unconscious that actually prevent us from having those attributes about us to go and communicate effectively with the outside world in this casual dating environment that we find ourselves in, whether we have a dating app, which is the easiest way to do it, right? It's the most convenient way for people to do it without going out there and having to put yourself out there at face value or in person face to face. It's difficult for a lot of people to do. Now, I want to talk about this because these guys are out there and they're teaching people how to, abandon love for another person, all kinds of different like techniques and ways to go about these things so as to not attach to somebody emotionally, so as to remain casual and kind of surface level. All right. And when I talk about the Brave New World, everybody ends up belonging to everybody for a short period of time, and then you rotate partners. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. And so my problem with, and it's not really a problem, it's my observation that leads me to taking a step back instead of diving in. As a single man, I'm out there. I can easily go out there and do whatever it is that I want to do. I'm fully capable of doing it if I choose to do it and go play the casual game. And it's not that I have a problem, so I misspoke when I said the problem that I have. It's not actually a problem. It's an observation based on my experience with deconstructing what we know as the Matrix. The system that we live in right now, the Matrix that we live in, wants casuality so as to, and this is one of the, in my opinion, we all have our opinions, but based on my observation, they want you in casuality to prevent people from spiritually connecting intimately and deeply, to destroy what used to be the family values. Now let that sit for a little while and we'll come back to it. When you get into the casual game, nowadays you have people who've grown up in households where their parents were divorced, there was abuse, whether it was emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever the case. We have really destroyed the family, the nuclear family, so to speak, in many ways. Consumerism, societal structures, cultural norms and structures, these all have contributed in many ways. And so you have these generations that come up, and we have a lot of emotional unavailability, or a lot of surface level things that become intimate, and they become too difficult to handle because we are heightened emotionally, or that's one of the reasons why we are heightened emotionally by the environment that we live in. We're hyperstimulated by everything, and anything with depth is very difficult for many people to handle. And so it's easy for people to go out there and have surface level relationships, find that chemical, hormonal hit, let it run its course, and then go about your way. And oftentimes that leads to casual sex. And we need to be very careful with that casual sex. I've had it in my life. I am not suggesting that I am not a sinner. I have been there. In hindsight, though, looking back at the way that the world is, the Matrix does not want you to connect to people. It deconstructs the spiritual value of what it means to be a human being, keeping in mind that sex, which is a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing, is not about casuality. Pornography makes it about that, and your fantasy romantic smut actually creates an intimate setting and experience to accentuate the hypersexualization and casuality, if you will, of our romantic and intimate experiences with one another and with the environment that we're in general. So we must be careful. These guys are onto it. They're really good at what they do. They help men build their confidence. I love to see that. We definitely want a world full of confident men, but also men who have values and have standards and have principles. All right, and they have morals, and they have that respect for themselves, that which they will respect those around them, and understand the dynamics that are at play here. If you're living in a world of casuality, it's going to be very difficult for us to find that energy balance in the world. All right, to find some kind of balance moving forward in the world that is already chaotic. And we're adding contention out there in the universe by which, when you have sexual intercourse, you are downloading spiritual energy into another person. And then they're going to carry that out there with them unconsciously for the rest of their life. This is if they choose not to transcend and elevate the mainstream of consciousness and do the inner work that's required. And if that's the case, then they will have found that casuality is not the answer. And so that's what casuality does. It keeps you stuck in a loop, if you will. You can call it a karmic loop. You can call it whatever you want, but it's going to keep you stuck in a behavioral loop for an extended period of time that stunts your emotional, mental, mindset growth and your spiritual growth. I'm not talking about religion when I talk about spirit. I'm talking about an energetic state of doing whatever it is you want to do, right? That have fruits or a benefit to the investment you made. You're not just spending time. You're not squandering. Rather, you're building something with an investment. And I find it very difficult to believe that we're building. I'm sure there are good things that come of developing these casual relationships that lead to a lot of different things. But at the same time, I find it difficult to believe that we're actually building positive things and building fruitful things in this world that we really should be focusing on at this point, where you need to rein in your energy here and learn about what's going on. In other words, you're deconstructing. Upon deconstructing, as I mentioned, that deconstruction word of the system that we live in, the matrix, you deconstruct it, you see what's going on, you do a lot of research about it. I'm one of the few people who have taken the time to do it over the course of many years. And as difficult as it was, you start to learn how to manage your emotions. You start to understand the significance of these casual relationships and why it can be very dangerous and detrimental in the long run, in the grand scheme of the event stream, the karmic event stream. You're putting energy out there, and you have your individual intentions and aspirations, and those collide with other people's intentions, and that's contention. All right, that it becomes contention. And now we're adding to the spiritual mixture of things with one person. Now you have all that spirit within that one person, and it becomes contention. And we don't realize it. And you carry it with you when you go to bed at night and when you wake up in the morning, and you wonder why, whatever the statistic is of psychotropic medication usage in this country, specifically with our beautiful, wonderful, God-blessed women out there in America, we wonder why it's increasing. We wonder why we have POTS. We wonder why we have eczema. We wonder why we have these things that express themselves through disorder and dis-ease in the body. Why chronic disease is at an all-time high. What do you think that's from? Casual disease, ladies and gentlemen. So we must be careful about these things. You go out there and you want to shoot your shot. You want to do your thing and meet women and all of these things. That's good to a certain extent. But you better respect yourself and respect the other person. And we should define what that respect actually means when you do it. Because if you're going through an avoidant breakup, for example, the last thing you want to do is go out there onto a dating app, because you have been impacted emotionally and spiritually significantly. And it's an opportunity for you to actually elevate yourself above and beyond what other people would, because many people aren't going to go through that stuff. And even if they do, they stay in the relationship because they lack many unconscious abilities to overcome their insecurities. They're needing validation. They're needing to find love externally rather than understanding that it's actually within the self first. And so that's what we're dealing with. And we have a bunch of people running around like that. And casuality keeps us in a state of stunted growth and development and integration, or rather introspection first, recognizing our weaknesses and our triggers and the unhealed or unresolved things within, to then take it out there and practice it in your personal life. All right. And this was one of the awakenings that I had, especially with this experience, which led me to actually change up the way Real Truth YouTube channel was. Even though I was deconstructing the matrix and stuff, I was just putting it out there for one or two people to latch onto. I didn't expect it to grow. I didn't try to make it grow. I just put information out there whenever I decided to. But in an event like this, we can flip the script and see, okay, what's the most important thing around us right now? Your frame is involved in this. Now we're talking about your networking, your personal, intimate relationships with your friends, family, loved ones, and romantic partners. Okay? So those are immediate right there. The levels of friendship, you can go read. I think Ellen Long has a Friends Substack. Really great stuff about friendship and the importance of what they stand for, how to manage them, the different types of friendships. It's really good stuff, and I'm a follower of that stuff. And so it's very important. Look, 15 years ago, you would not have seen me talking anything about this. I would have said, get that away from me. I was possessed, you understand, by my unconscious ego, right? That ego is on fire, son. All right, but we're not there, and that's what growth actually is. And a person like myself, I'm in great shape here. I can show you my 8-pack if you want. Look, we're in great shape. We're feeling good, looking good. We can fight good. We're doing our thing. I was a Marine for a long time, traveled the world multiple times over. I've been to 30 different countries, some of them libo ports. So you can imagine the fun that I had at the age of 21, 22, 23, 24, all the way up now. But what we want to do is come back within and take care of our frame, take care of the other pillars of your physiological and cellular health, and your integration of your emotional, spiritual, and mental mindset. This is why I use the pillars of the Fitness and Health Investment Initiative. Go to immheart.com, motivate me, immheart.com, and you can check out what I offer. Newsletter on the Patreon channel, one-on-one coaching, group coaching. That's why I do what I do now. We should take a look at the positive and negative effects of casual dating or casuality, and why it's important to manage your energy, not squandering it, okay? Not spending it and squandering, rather investing in yourself, building your frame, and through transformation of your internal guidelines, your unconscious script, your unconscious guidelines, flipping the script on who we once were and elevating and transcending that old ego, dissolving parts of it and integrating the things that we've learned from the unconscious back into the present for true transformational change and development. from a personal, professional, and spiritual standpoint, guys and girls. So that's my speech. Until next time, peace.